Hello and welcome to Character Commentary. Today we're going to be talking about Nagen Tesuta, the main character of my visual novel McCarthy Academy. For those of you who don't know, McCarthy Academy is a reform school for teen supervillains Nagen's forced to attend with his former teammates after failing to take over their corrupt hometown. I got a few requests for concept art from fellow artists who've wanted to draw him, so I figured this would be a fun way to do that and talk a little bit about how I designed him. I chose eidetic memory for his superpowers as a way to incorporate traditional visual novel game mechanics into the character's experience of the story. In this world, superpowers are proficiencies related to childhood development. These can be physical adaptations, interpersonal abilities, areas of academic study, or coping mechanisms brought on by trauma. Nagen's case is rare because rather than getting screened for a proficiency, his father tried to give him one artificially. It's unclear to others whether his memory is inherently superior or if it's the result of taking experimental learning drugs. He's actually got a medical port in his right jugular vein from the years of testing, so all his undershirts zip open at the shoulders for easy access. He's extremely self-conscious about this and tries to overcompensate for his feeling of inadequacy with trying to be right all the time and everything he wears. Now, admittedly, I have a few character types I recycle when designing characters, and Nagen's is one that comes up quite a bit. In high school, I was a manic pixie dream girl machine, and I would often churn out these quiet emo boys with black or blue hair as a love interest. Most of those have been lost to time. I was able to actually find two that I still held on to. Their names were interchangeable. They didn't have any backstory or personality other than shy Lancer with asymmetric clothes. So when I thought of writing a story from the point of view of a Lancer-type character, Nagen's blue edgy boy aesthetic immediately came to mind. He's supposed to be this straight-A student who's trying way too hard to be rebellious and scary, so I ditched the unkept emo kid facade in favor for a more clean-cut cyberpunk look. I originally was going to have him have this flannel undershirt under the jacket, but it was just one too many patterns. I also had a few characters with dip-dyed hair already, so I switched to these streaks to seem more sharp and precise. He's got duct tape wrapped around his jeans because he thought silver plating would look cool, but he's already dumped all of his money into this jacket and club kid shoes. I love the idea of him wearing a lot of leather-like material to seem more dark and foreboding, even though it's a pain for me to color. His gloves stop midway through the palm because I think they're neat, though sometimes I'll give him gloves with the open back and the strap around the wrist. Every piece of this outfit is perfectly symmetrical, with stripes underneath to allude to how he feels like a prisoner. The crop top jacket, I swear to God, exists in black somewhere on the internet, but I can't find it anymore. I wanted it to be a dark blue leather-like material instead of the black, but the edge of the hood has always been this clear plastic vinyl. I thought it would help show the shaved part of his head, but a lot of people who've looked at his original sketches couldn't tell. So now it is what it is. I've fallen in love with this part too much to just get rid of it now. So his hair and the piercing provide some asymmetry to show that underneath his facade, he's still this disorganized mess. One of his friends pierced his lip for him, and he passed out almost immediately. I use a lot of grays, blues, and blacks in his alternate outfits, but purple also works as an accent color. I imagine once he's more sure of himself, he'll wear more whites and pastels. Fun fact, the darker parts of his hair are actually dyed and are naturally white. For this animation, I had to simplify his hair for my own sanity, so instead of the usual streaks, I made whole locks of his hair alternate colors. I also changed the color of the shaved part of his head, and honestly, I think the dark teal works really well, even though it should be more of like a white-gray, like his natural hair color. My brother kindly allowed me to record him flipping his hair so I could break down the movements for this better. I can't visualize things in my head, so I have to constantly draw to brainstorm and see what works. Once I settle on the design, I usually don't draw that character as much unless it's to test out different character interactions. Because of this, most concept art I have of Nagen now, he's usually with another person. I didn't have to draw sprites of him for the game, so I think this is the 7th time I've colored him digitally. I've done colored pictures of him using alcohol ink before many times, but once again, it's usually for a group shot. It's actually kind of nice seeing him against a background by himself. I went with the super muted colors for him because everyone else has the vibrant color palettes and the school itself is super colorful. I thought it would lend to this fish out of water feel where the main character doesn't quite fit in or feel like they belong. Nagen's been through some shit, man, so the idea of living an ordinary slice of life kind of school life for him is super jarring. He's so paranoid and used to getting overlooked that it's been a lot of fun seeing him interact with his peers as equals for the first time. And here's the final animation. It took about 60 hours with a lot of time just spent trying to figure out how to do it. The transition to Psy from Photoshop has been really difficult, but that's a story for another time. I figured for this video series, I would go through each of the characters from the demo first, then go into the rest of the cast. The beta/demo for the game is actually already out, so if you want to give it a look, it's in the description along with a link to the game's Tumblr. I know Tumblr is a relic, but I love the blog format too much to leave it behind. I'm not a big fan of Patreon, but if you'd like to leave a coffee tip, I'd greatly appreciate it. All funds will be going towards making the full version of the game, and if you've come here from my Amino, hi! Thanks for visiting the studio, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!